everyone, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. I'm sure you already know what this video is about after reading the title. I will be honest, I did already film this video once and I was in the process of editing it when I realized that I just didn't really like how I was coming off. I don't know, I didn't really feel like myself, and while I was editing it, there was just something off about the video that I had filmed, and I felt like it wasn't like as genuine as I wanted it to be. It was almost too put together and almost too like scripted. I have no idea why. I just didn't feel that great about it, so I am filming this video for a second time. As you can probably tell by the title, today's video is going to be all about how I managed to get a 4.0 during one of the hardest semesters that I think any student, whether you're in high school or college, I think you can agree that this is probably one of the hardest semesters we've had yet, because everything was virtual and a lot of people were learning alone and didn't really have like a structure or routine in their life, and so it might have been really hard to keep yourself accountable for keeping up with school and staying ahead in your academics. I'm going to be going over some of the things that I found were really helpful in keeping me accountable and keeping me motivated, and pretty much just how I did it. Before I do get started, I feel like I do have to kind of make a disclaimer. I'm sure there will be people out there that are going to say things like it was online, like it was probably a lot easier to access, you know, resources, and you probably had a lot more opportunities available to you, and blah 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 blah. Online learning is easier than doing it in person, whatever. And I just want to squash that right now, and I do want to say that I'm not going to discredit myself. I did work really hard this semester. Of course, it helped a lot that I was at home, and so I didn't really have much else to do. I'm not going to stand back and let myself, you know, be discredited, because this was one of my best academic semesters probably of my entire life, despite the fact that I was not doing well mentally at all. And I worked for it, and it was something that I entered the semester with the intention of working as hard as I could, not with the intention of having all straight A's like as an end goal. I knew that I wanted to push myself as hard as I could this semester because I was home and I had the space and I had the time to do so. So that's exactly what I did. I worked really hard. Second off, I do want to say also that a lot of classes at UC Berkeley are graded on a curve. So it means that the grades are relative to the class and relative to the people in the class. So also wanted to put that out there. With that being said, with that disclaimer out of the way, I am very excited to get started, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so of course I had to write everything in my journal or else I'm just gonna forget all these points. So the first point that I have that I really wanted to touch on was kind of changing my mindset and changing my perspective. I basically learned that there are two kind of perspectives or mindsets that you can have when it comes to success. There's process-oriented and there's goal-oriented. I'll start with the second one. The difference is goal-oriented is you are basing your success off of an end goal, putting it into perspective, like into academics. A goal-oriented perspective of success would be, okay, at the end of this semester, I want to get a 4.0. Like saying that you have a very solid goal that you will reach by the end of whatever span of time. Whereas a process-oriented perspective is a little more ambiguous, and it's more on the path that you take to get to whatever goal you may have, but it's more focused on like that ongoing process as opposed to your end goal. So putting that into the framework of like this semester, I think a process-oriented perspective of success could be, okay, I want to feel really confident in my chemistry skills. Again, it's a bit more ambiguous and it's more based on what's happening now. So here's the big difference between these two perspectives that I realized, I would say, pretty early on in the semester. With a process-oriented perspective of success, you are feeling that achievement every single day because you're living it. Like every single day you're feeling, oh my gosh, every single day I'm mastering chemistry a bit more. I'm feeling more and more confident in my abilities to teach a subject or in my abilities to understand a subject. So you're feeling that happiness and you're feeling that reward every single day because it's the process and you're living the process. Whereas with a goal-oriented perspective of success, you are constantly postponing that feeling of happiness and accomplishment until you actually reach the end goal. And a lot of times the end goal might not even be achievable. I know a lot of people believe in the law of attraction and the law of manifestation, But if you just sit down and say to yourself, I'm gonna get a 4.0, I'm gonna get a 4.0, if you say that like 10 times a day, but you're not actually living the process, like you are just focused on the end goal, it might not happen. Goals like that sometimes are not attainable. Getting a 4.0 or losing X amount of pounds or being promoted to manager. Like sometimes the goals are a little bit, you know, out of reach. And when you don't meet it, if you don't meet it, it feels terrible. It really, really sucks. You never get to feel that accomplishment and that happiness with that goal-oriented perspective. So I really do think that switching my mindset and switching my perspective to something that is more process-oriented, that is a little more abstract, and that is able to allow me to feel that accomplishment and happiness during the process, that mental switch helped so much. And I felt like I was studying for myself, and I felt like I was studying so that I could be more comfortable with a topic and more confident with the topic, as opposed to I am studying for the sole purpose of getting a 4.0. The next tip that I have is to pretty much go to everything. Again, this is a lot easier because everything was online, but this past semester, I tried to attend everything. I attended almost all the live lectures. I tried to attend all my discussions, all my labs, study groups, review sessions, office hours, tutoring, like you name it, I tried to attend everything. And I tried to do it synchronously. So I know a lot of people that are doing online learning, there's like synchronous learning and then there's asynchronous. The difference is synchronous is real time, it's live, and you're actually able to interact with people. And I found that going to synchronous activities, classes, labs, whatever, I found that to be really helpful because it really did keep me accountable for my time. It prevented me from falling behind also, and it allowed me a space where I could interact with my classmates, my professor, my GSI, whoever that may be. So the next thing Hi Danny! Okay, my dad and my brother are home. But the next thing I wrote down was I genuinely tried so hard, so hard to be passionate and loved what I was learning. I will say with organic chemistry and with physics, I genuinely did like those classes. I thought they were really challenging and I loved learning the concepts, and most importantly, I loved mastering them, and I loved understanding it and being able to get to a point where I felt confident enough that I could help other people. That was something that I genuinely enjoyed and I found happiness out of. I did have 2 other classes that I wasn't as passionate about, just naturally, like they were not STEM classes, they were more on the humanities side, and writing and reading aren't really my strong suits, and so of course I tended to not be as enthusiastic and passionate about those classes. But with those classes, I faked it. I pretended that I loved it. I pretended that I was really passionate about it. So I tried my best to speak up as much as I could. And when I was doing like the classwork, I literally just pretended that it was super interesting and pretended that it was something that I was interested in, even though it wasn't. But it got to a point in the semester where I faked it so hard that I believed it myself, and so I was able to get through and get by the class and achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I don't know how good that tip is, but I guess if there is a topic that you're not as passionate about learning about and you just don't love as much, fake it till you make it. Pretend that you're in love with it just for the duration of the semester, and hopefully that'll get you where you want to go. Do you want to say hi to the vlog? Hi. Hi! So the next thing that I really want to talk about is my iPad. I'm so blessed and thankful that I was able to have an iPad to help me with my studies. I got this iPad at the beginning of the semester. I think it is an iPad Air Generation 3. I bought the Apple Pencil with it. I did buy it off of eBay, so it's used. This iPad helped me so much academically. I feel like, especially being a STEM student, I was so tired of having to print out documents and then write on them and then scan them and then upload them. So I just think having a tablet helps so much. It motivated me to take better notes. I was able to take prettier notes. I was able to upload PDFs directly from like my tablet onto whatever platform we were using, and I was able to annotate directly on them instead of printing them out and scanning them and blah. It's just such a hassle. So definitely investing in an iPad I think is really helpful if you are a student, whether you're in STEM or not. I guess it doesn't really matter. It is extremely helpful for chemistry. That much I will say for sure. Like, this saved me the most in organic chemistry. And with a little bit more focus on the iPad, and like specifically what I did, another thing that I wanted to share was at the end of every unit, I created kind of a holistic study guide or review guide of everything we learned in that unit. At the end of every unit, I collected all my notes, all my lecture notes from that specific section, and I pretty much rewrote them. I collected all the big ideas, all the main ideas into one document, and it was so much easier to study that way. And for example, like when I was doing a practice exam, I was able to just refer to my study guide from that unit instead of flipping through all these lectures and like trying to find like formulas or reactions or stuff like that. Also, just like rewriting information is a great way to ingrain that better in your memory and solidify your understanding of the material. So next, I wanted to share with you guys my kind of routine on what I would do when I had an exam coming up. So this is more specifically for my science classes, my STEM classes, so specifically for chemistry and physics. I pretty much had a set routine when it came to preparing for exams. So basically what I would do was about a week, sometimes maybe more, in advance to the exam. That's when I started my study routine. So let's just say a week before an exam. The first 2 days of that week is when I would compile all my notes and form my study guide for that unit. So now we have 5 days left. So within those 5 days, I would typically take 4 of the 5 days, and that's when I would just do practice exam after practice exam after practice exam, going over problems that I didn't know how to do, going over exam level problems, taking those questions that I have to office hours so I can solidify my understanding even more. And I also think it's really helpful for problems that are a bit more difficult that you didn't understand at first. I think it's really helpful to do the problem out loud, like physically say the steps out loud and even try to teach it to someone, whether that be a friend, a classmate, a family member, your dog. Oh my gosh. A lot of people say that teaching is the best way to learn and the best way to know that you truly do understand a concept or class material or whatever that may be. And of course, the day before an exam is when I would kind of do a temperature check and make sure that I don't have any lingering questions about any material. I'm in a mentally good place, so making sure that I get enough sleep, making sure that I'm, I don't know, doing something to kind of de-stress, because the days leading up to an exam can be extremely stressful. So the last day, I really like to just take some time for myself, take some space for myself. A lot of times I like to do my nails, I like to do a face mask or work out, have a really good meal the day before, just to make sure that you are prepared and that you walk into the exam feeling not only confident in the material, but also confident in yourself. And then the last day is exam day, and that was pretty much what I did, and I found that routine to be extremely helpful. It worked pretty well, and I saw results that I was really proud of. And I guess with that, that pretty much brings me to the end of this video, but I do want to end on this note. As important as grades are and as important as academic success is, nothing will ever be more important than you and your mental health. So of course, always take time for yourself, because you aren't going to be able to put energy out into the universe if you don't have any to begin with. So make sure that you are being gentle and kind and patient with yourself. A lot of us are extremely fortunate to be able to have an education and to be able to be in an institution where we can learn and further our understanding and mastering of certain skills. So I think for me, I just really fell in love with learning, and I fell in love with furthering myself and being able to say confidently that I mastered a certain topic or a certain subject. I think that also was a really big component as to why I might have succeeded academically this semester, because I was actually very much enjoying what I was learning, instead of seeing it as kind of this dooming task that I had to do. So I think that will wrap up my video. I really hope this video was helpful, especially to people who may be doing online learning next semester. I hope I didn't come off as, you know, being like kind of a know-it-all and stuck up. That was why I didn't like my first video, because I just didn't feel like I was being genuine. Genuinely, I just wanted to share some things that I found really helpful for me and getting me through the semester, especially during a time when I felt extremely lonely and extremely isolated and very hopeless sometimes. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you can go ahead and check out my other videos. I have made a video about UC Berkeley every single semester that I've been here so far. So this will be my third video, pretty much all about Cal. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!